Another day, another video. Let's get right into it. I don't want to waste y'all's time with a super long intro that, will probably just end up with me repeating myself as much as possible. So let's get right into it. The Houston Rockets this year were the worst team in basketball. Now, you know that, right? Yeah, you know that. But what some people might not realize is with all the trades and the picks that they've received, or the picks that they've received through trades, to get a high pick, you need to get lucky at the draft lottery. And with the draft lottery on the doorstep, it's time for us Rockets fans to start worrying. Because if we don't get a top 4 pick, it's bad news. But since we were the worst team in the league this season, we have a good chance to get a top 4 pick. It's about a 50-50, even though the exact percentage leans in our direction at 52%. But if we don't get a top 4 pick, we're in trouble. And we'll basically be missing out on the 4 biggest prospects in, the draft and from college. And it's not going to look good. I don't know what's going to happen at this draft lottery, but I can tell you this. If we don't get a top 4 pick, it's going to be a while until we're good. Hopefully, we can get, if, if we're one of the worst teams next season, we can get, the odds will be in our favor next year if we don't get it this year. But this year is probably the most important year in a long time for the Houston Rockets. This draft lottery. The Houston Rockets have been known to make the playoffs a lot. They have only missed the playoffs they've missed the playoffs a number of times, but they've seemed to make up for it a few years later, judging by their history. And the years that they weren't very good and didn't make the playoffs ended with them getting great picks and rebuilding their team towards, contenders. Take, for instance, the Rockets drafting Hakeem Olajuwon at number 1 in the can't remember what draft it was. It might have been the 84 draft. I don't know. But that was, that really worked out for the Rockets. But now that we have, a team that we can't really depend on, we have that same thirst that we might have back then. We thirst for that top 4 pick. We thirst for that number 1 pick. If the Rockets don't get a top 3 pick, I'll be a little disappointed. Not too disappointed, but I'll be a little bit disappointed. We get a 4 pick, that's fine. Yeah, obviously. But if we don't get a top 4 pick, I'm going to be very disappointed. The whole city of Houston will be disappointed. All Rockets fans will be disappointed. But if we get that number 1 pick, we dream of Cade Cunningham or Evan Mobley. That's who we dream of. And hopefully, we can get one of those guys. I'll be a little more disappointed if we get Mobley rather than Cade, because I just feel like a lot of the hype has gone to Cade. The tank for Cade trend. Because, the Rockets tanked this season. So, the Rockets did not do a good job of hiding it. They tanked to get where they were. They just didn't play good to not play good. if you're not aware what tanking is, I'll just give you a brief explanation. Tanking has been around for years. And basically what it is when a team loses, loses on purpose to better benefit themselves. But with tanking comes risks. It doesn't always work out. Yes, sometimes it does work out, but other times it doesn't. It can kind of ruin your reputation. And at times it can be, it can really affect your team for the future. And if you mess up, you're not going to have a good future. So the Rockets have to play this perfectly now. They have to hope that the balls are in their court, and they have to hope that they pick the right guy. I haven't done a Rockets video in a while, but I just thought I would today because I know that everyone's getting excited for the lottery. The NBA playoffs are getting close to being over. We're now in the conference finals section. And man, the Eastern Conference, I have to say, I did a video or a stream a few days ago on the Bucks beating the Nets, taking down the Nets, in what was just a great game. I felt like the Bucks were almost like my Rockets at that time. It was like that. I was cheering for the Rockets. I don't know, but that's how much I was going for them. But then you have the Hawks last night upsetting the number 1 seeded 76ers, which was, man. Obviously, the Bucks are probably going to the finals. I don't know. Maybe the Hawks will. And if so, good for them. The Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers played yesterday. Phoenix took game 1. Devin Booker had a masterful game without Chris, and they beat the Clippers without Chris Paul, even though the Clippers did not have Kawhi Leonard, and he's their main guy. But for most of that game, the Clippers played well. They played fairly well, and they tried to stay in it as best they could, but in the end, the Suns pulled away and won that game. But while all of the playoffs are going on, I'm still thinking we need, everyone's focused on the playoffs right now, but the people who don't have teams in the playoffs like me, we're hoping for that draft lottery, and we're hoping for the draft. That's because that's all we can do. Our teams aren't good. Obviously, we're in rebuild mode. Most of these teams are in rebuild mode. So this is all you can hope for is a high pick. We get a high pick, great. We get a low pick, horrible. It's a coin flip. That's what we gotta hope for now. We get a top 4 pick, I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'd love a top 3 pick, but if we get a top 4 pick, I'm satisfied. So, the NBA is interesting. The Rockets are not so much. So let's hope for the draft lottery. All right, so that's going to end the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who did enjoy the video, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 70. We're right there. We're almost there. And comment down below. What do you think the Rockets are going to get for the draft? What, top 4 pick, non-top 4 pick, and who do you think they'll draft with their pick? So, once again, like, subscribe, and comment. I will see you later, Rockets fans, NBA fans. Go Rockets. Bye, guys.